After Ollie goes through a portal into the Forgotten Forest, her brother is left behind to answer to the steward of the Limican throne. And as she makes her way through the strange new world and beyond, she discovers new truths about her family, including the existence of a long-lost sibling. Once reunited in their own realm, the Locklears make a pact to find out what their parents have been hiding from them. Meanwhile, other players are moving across the board. Evian and Maris worry about what it means that they can't divine any possible futures in their realm. Beth, an ageless vigilante, is in town seeking answers. An unseelie spy has infiltrated the pack. Then there's a return of an old friend, or enemy, depending on your point of view. In secret, Veda practices with her powers with varying results, and Harper begins to see things she shouldn't. With new allies and foes on both sides, it's a race to find the 4 treasures of the Tuatha de Danann. If Ollie and the pack can get their hands on all of them, they may just have a chance at stopping the walls between realities from breaking down. And as the OutCrossed untangle their own pasts, the Shadow Queen is readying her forces for an invasion, enlisting the help of a very old enemy who has no other choice but to take up her quest. But when the Wolf Moon rises over Birch Hollow, they'll all find out who is truly in control of the fate of the multiverse. Oh, hello. I didn't notice you there. I set up the tripod and camera, but still I didn't notice you. Yeah. Welcome once again to the Heir's Lair. I am your host, aspiring author Jonathan Taylor. As of the date of production, it'll be almost a year since I first started my YouTube accounts. I actually started putting videos up later, but regardless, I have actually started them on June 6th. Today, production date June 5th. I thought I'd celebrate the occasion by going back to the OutCrossed series, given that the second book was just released, namely Under the Wolf Moon. I had a lot of fun with the first book in the series. It really blew me away in a manner no other book has managed to for a very long time. But it's with its rich in-depth world and immersive characterization. This book, while it doesn't really have the same narrative punch, the same degree of novelty and amazement, I will say it makes up for it with even better characterization and some strongly immersive narrative twists that really change the framing and the stakes of the entire series. So what actually happens in this book, you may ask? We pick up right after the climax interruptus of the first book, and we get to see how all characters are doing in the aftermath of said climax, how they respond to what just happened, and how they think that alters their own individual tasks. Thankfully, that means that we get a more in-depth look on the villains and in general who they are. That includes what their personal goals are, why they think following the main villain is a good idea, and also more generally how they think and operate on their own. Unfortunately, we don't really get a lot about the rank and file of the organization and what makes them tick, aside from being brainwashed. Spoiler alert. Okay, not much of a spoiler, but still. But thankfully what we do get of the main movers and shakers is still plenty compelling. And the narrative journeys they go through over the course of this book are very interesting to behold. Don't worry too much about the main characters though, they also get their own stuff to do. And while some of it is focused on retrieving or finding the 4 treasures, and the affiliated adventures, a lot of it is not necessarily as dynamic, or okay, it is still dynamic, but it's not just running around. There are in fact plenty of still moments where the characters observe take notes of the more incremental changes that move the plot and alter the setting. I hope that last sentence didn't make this book sound padded, because it really isn't. It is in fact packed with a whole slew of narrative threads and information, all of which pertain to the characters and their own personal developments and struggles. You get the vampires who learn to coexist within a new familial unit. You get as I said, the main villains, the villains finding out what it is they're actually what they actually want, and whether or not it actually makes sense to do what they've been doing. And you also get Veda, who is coming to grips with her powers, and then you get the other leads who are trying to integrate within the Limican Council, aka werewolf aristocracy, and find their own paths, or rather roles, within this aristocracy. And of all these individual character journeys, the ones I think deserve the spotlight most are Ollie's and Xander. Ollie learns to take charge of her own, charge in a whole slew of given situations, while also playing to what others expect of her, and overcoming her fears and trauma. Xander, in turn, becomes her main enforcer and advisor, someone who can always back her up, and someone whose experiences and insights she can rely upon. Other characters also get their own individual narrative arcs and personal developments, and as I said before, all of them tie into who they are, who they have been established as people, and how that and how their personalities clash with this new clash with the revelations they are having about about their environment. I already read about Veda, who is coming to grips with her magical abilities. There is also Harper, who is slowly being overwhelmed by the revelations that can be made about her, that she is learning about her world. You have Beth, the underworld transplant, who is learning about her role in the greater story, and how she's meant to fulfill it. You also have Evian and Maris, who, in spite of losing their foresight, recognize that they still have stuff to do. They still have their input is still necessary, and there are so many more stories that are similarly informed by who these characters are and how their environments, their situations have changed. It is actually quite amazing how well the narrative manages to juggle all of these individual story threads and all of these characters. It is held by some of them being simple at least in concept, and I think anyone who has seen any new TV shows in the last 15-20 years might recognize some of the archetypes that the narrative employs. However, the way the story employs them, and the ways they react to all the situations they find themselves in, do a great deal of really fleshing them out and really establishing who these people actually are. They might start out as stereotypes, but they don't stay stereotypes. Regrettably, there is one character who gets shafted in this whole menagerie, who is mismanaged, and that is Ryan, Ollie and Xander's mother. She doesn't really have a lot of input in the plot, and in fact she's deliberately kept away from it, and in general just takes on the role of the nice, if occasionally beleaguered parent. That being said, the tail end of this book, or should I say the final section, hints that she might have a larger role in the series' future. and hints towards what that larger role could be, while also introducing a paradigm shift within the main cast of characters. And this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about when I say that this book is padded. Every single word, literally every single word, in some way advances the themes, the narratives, or the relationships within the story. So basically, all of them are doing double or even triple duty, and not one of them is wasted. River is very deliberate in what it is she is trying to say, and what it is she is bringing the attention of the reader to, and I think it really helps highlight both the themes of the story and the character journeys. This is not a book you can just turn your brain off and read. This is a book that very much encourages you to engage with it, to think about what it's talking about, what it's talking about, and what it is trying to convey. While it can at times seem melodramatic, I think all the melodrama is justified, and if nothing else, it is much better justified than some books I've read and done reviews for. And I have to say that all of the engagement you do with it is not just encouraged; it is absolutely worth your while. This is mirrored in, among other things, as in every other thing that I mentioned in this video, also in how River deals with River, or the author, and the book in general, handles prophecies. J.R.R. Tolkien once said that history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And this is very much mirrored in the ways prophecies are handled in this book. While they do occur, they don't really occur exactly as foretold. And that level of tension between what should happen and what it would take to make what should happen ends up fueling a lot of the drama between the main characters and secondary characters. And none of that drama is forced. All of it is very much believable and very much in keeping with who these people are and what their regrets, what their anxieties, and what their goals are. It makes for a very fun and very immersive read in that sense. Overall, and my conclusion to this review is that River J. Hopkins has done it again. She has written an amazing book with great characters and a very engaging story. Unlike her previous effort, though, this book actually makes the previous book better in hindsight, and like the previous book, she advances all the themes and narratives and relationships in an engaging way, in a myriad of engaging ways actually, that still leave plenty of speculation room for potential future storytelling avenues. This book is pretty much is more of what you already liked, but better, like in a lot of ways. My final rating for Under the Wolf Moon is a 5 out of 5. And yeah, that was my review. Thank you very much for your attention. If you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like. If there is anything you'd like to add, the comment section awaits your input. And if you want to see when the next video comes out, then I suggest you go ahead and subscribe. Maybe also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you so it keeps you notified. Until next time, I am Jonathan Taylor, and this has been the Heir's Lair.